Prime Field.
What's up, Hoop Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. What happens when a team that can't hold on to the basketball faces a team that's basically built a factory for converting turnovers into buckets? We're about to find out. Tomorrow at Walsh Gymnasium in South Orange, New Jersey, the #1 UConn Huskies roll into town to face the Seton Hall Pirates, and folks, I've got the receipts that say this one might get ugly. I'm talking historically ugly. Stay with me because the numbers I'm about to show you will blow your mind. Let's set the stage. UConn comes in perfect. 14-0, 5-0 in Big East play. They're ranked #1 in the country, and they haven't lost to a Big East opponent in 52 straight games. Read that again. 52. Seton Hall, they're sitting pretty at 10. 4-1 in conference. On paper, they're having a solid season. They just beat Xavier by 20 and absolutely demolished Georgetown by 45 points, a program record for margin of victory in a Big East game. So you might be thinking, okay, Seton Hall's rolling, maybe they've got a shot. Here's where it gets interesting. The problem hiding in plain sight. In those 2 wins I just mentioned, those blowout victories where everything looked great, Seton Hall coughed up the ball 35 times, 18 turnovers against Xavier, 17 against Georgetown, in games they won easily. Now, why does this matter? Because those were against teams that couldn't make them pay. Xavier's not built for transition offense. Georgetown scored 36 total points and couldn't capitalize on anything. But UConn is a completely different animal. Let me paint you a picture of what UConn has been doing lately. December 28th, they play Butler. Final score 94-47. Looks like a standard UConn beatdown, right? But check this out. They forced 29 turnovers and scored 48 points directly off those turnovers. That's not a typo. 48 points. That's 51% of their total offense coming from Butler's mistakes. Okay, you say, maybe Butler was just bad that day. 3 days later, New Year's in Suv, they face Providence. Another dominant win, 90-53. Guess what? 30 turnovers forced, 41 points off turnovers. And oh yeah, they had a 21. 0 run in the first quarter that basically ended the game before halftime. Do you see the pattern? UConn doesn't just force turnovers, they turn them into avalanches. They hit you with a 10-0 run, then a 15-0 run, and suddenly you look up and you're down 30. The swarm defense. What makes UConn so deadly? It's the full court pressure, baby. They press after made baskets. They trap guards at half court. They have length everywhere. Azzy Fudd, Sarah Strong, Jenna Alfie, jumping into passing lanes like they can read minds. Against Providence, Fudd had 4 steals. Sarah Strong had 3. Even bench players like Ali Zibel had 3. That's 16 team steals in one game, and most of those aren't dead ball turnovers where you can set up your defense. These are live ball steals that turn into 3-on-2 fast breaks. Now let's talk about Seton Hall's offense, because this is where things get spicy. Savannah Catalon is their engine. She dropped 24 points against Xavier, 14 against Georgetown with 7 steals. She's a baller, no question. But here's the problem. When one player has to do everything, what happens when UConn says we're taking her away? Gino Auriemma, the GOAT of women's college basketball, has a saying, cut off the head of the snake. You know UConn is going to trap Catalon every time she crosses half court. They're going to force the ball out of her hands and make Jada Eads, Valenzuela, or Bishop beat them. And based on what we've seen, those secondary handlers have struggled under pressure. 7 times Georgetown's guards stripped the ball from Seton Hall. If Georgetown can do it 7 times, what's UConn going to do? The spacing problem. The film doesn't lie. Seton Hall's turnovers aren't just transition mistakes. They're half-court breakdowns. Players drive into clogged lanes, they panic when pressured and throw passes to spots where nobody's there. Against Xavier's modest defense, it was 18 turnovers. Against Georgetown's terrible offense, it was still 17. What happens when UConn's length and athleticism shrink the court even more? Now here's where it gets really interesting. UConn's starting point guard KK Arnold is out with a nose fracture. You'd think that's good news for Seton Hall, right? Wrong. Enter Ashlynn Shade. In the Butler game, which happened to be in her home state of Indiana, Shade put on an absolute clinic. 4 steals, multiple on-ball strips where she just picked guards clean. She grabbed a defensive rebound, pushed it up the court, and hit Ali Zibel for a transition 3. Defense to offense in 3 seconds. Against Providence, she continued the terror. And here's the thing about Shade. She plays with a physicality that might actually be better for this matchup than Arnold. She bodies up drivers, denies penetration, and forces offenses to start possessions 30 feet from the basket. The shadow effect. Seton Hall is going to try to attack UConn's point guard position with Arnold out, but Shade's ability to slide her feet and stay in front means those drives are going to turn into kickouts. And when Seton Hall kicks the ball out under duress, that's when AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong jump the passing lane. I'm calling it now. Ashlynn Shade gets at least 3 steals and 5+ deflections. She's going to be the reason Seton Hall can't find any rhythm. Alright, let's do the math. Seton Hall averaged 17.5 turnovers per game in their last 2 contests, against teams that couldn't punish them. Adjust that for UConn's defense, and I'm projecting 22 turnovers for the Pirates. UConn has averaged 44.5 points off turnovers in their last 2 games. Even if we're conservative and say they score 35, 38 points off Seton Hall's mistakes, that's a 30-point margin from turnovers alone. This isn't going to be a game decided by who shoots better in the half court. It's going to be decided by who controls the chaos. And UConn, they don't just control chaos. They create it, weaponize it, and turn it into points. The game script. Here's how I see it playing out. First quarter, UConn opens with full court pressure. Seton Hall commits 3 turnovers in their first 5 possessions. UConn leads 12-2. Second quarter, Seton Hall tries to speed up to catch up. Bad idea. That's playing right into UConn's hands. The lead balloons to 20 by halftime. Third quarter, UConn's half-court defense tightens. Seton Hall forces late clock shots, leading to long rebounds and transition buckets for Sarah Strong. Fourth quarter, garbage time. Final score, UConn 88, Seton Hall 54. Key stat, UConn scores 38 points off turnovers. X Factor, Ashlynn Shade finishes with 14 points and 4 steals. Look, Seton Hall's a good team. 10 wins is nothing to sneeze at. But this matchup, it's a nightmare scenario. You got a team that's loose with the basketball going up against a team that's built a system around punishing those mistakes. UConn's 52-game Big East winning streak isn't an accident. They understand the formula, force turnovers, create chaos, and overwhelm you before you can blink. Tomorrow night, Seton Hall is going to find out what happens when you step into the Huskies' house with weak ball security. Your turn. All right, Hoop Nation, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think Seton Hall can keep their turnovers under 15 and make this competitive? Or is UConn going to blow them out by 30+? Drop your predictions below. And if you think I'm crazy and Seton Hall's actually got a shot, tell me why. What's their path to victory? If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more women's college hoops content, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. I'll see you after the game with the full recap. Until then, keep hooping.
Prime Field.